Hello people, so we are back with our second tutorial. In this tutorial, before starting this tutorial, let's have a quick look back on whatever we have learned in our first part of AngularJS, first lecture of AngularJS. Actually, in that we didn't discuss anything in deeper. My main motive was just to show you that how AngularJS works, how a variable is defined. Before before explaining what is controller, what is directive, at least you should be known with what is ngf, what is ng controller, why we use ngf, why we use ng controller, those things. So I just gave a small demonstration in lecture 1 that what is ngf and what is ng controller. But in this tutorial my main motive is to explain that what actually ngf is, why we need ngf, why we need ng controller. So in this lecture we will be going in a little deeper with ngf and ng controller. So before that, let's have a look. I will explain you what an application is in AngularJS. So suppose I'm inserting a design here. I'm trying to make a home here. So suppose this is the roof of your home. One more I will have to take. Let's take this one for simplicity. So suppose this is your home. Let's keep it black and white. Let's insert two more. Again, let's keep it white, and one more. Don't worry, I will explain you why I am drawing this. So suppose this home is your application, any application. It may be online. For example, I'm giving that if it is a student registration project or anything. Registration project or anything. Now, for a student registration project, suppose this is your home, and before going into an application, obviously before going into this house, you should know the address of the house. And yes, in AngularJS, that address is ngf, and this is the parent directive, and only one parent directive can be present in whole application. Mind it, because and you must keep it in mind that ngf, sorry, this will be in a small. ngf is the parent directive definition in the whole application, and for one complete application only one parent directive will be there. That is, we can define only one ngf in the application, and this is our home, complete home. Now every home will have a few attributes in them, like door, window 1, window 2, those things. So these window 1, window 2 and door, these are called controllers. Independent or related attributes are called controllers. Why controllers? Suppose this is window 1, and functionality of this window is something different. Suppose let's compare between door and window. So window is for ventilation, for getting good air, and door is for the entrance of the people into home. So these both have different functionalities. These both will have so many features, but may be completely different. That is why we define different controllers into an application, and that is all accessed using ngf variable, whatever reference variable we had created in lecture 1. So suppose this is our controller 1, and how we define it? Using ng controller. Now this is our controller 2, and this is our controller 3. We see in an application a very good method is to define all the things separately. If you will define all this controller to second controller, third controller into a single controller, then your code will be very much complex, because in web technology If you will write 100 lines, then only a little things will be visible on UI. It means that for writing a good application, your line of codes will be more than lakh. So it is better practice to write separate controllers, so that in future if we want to give some attribute or we want to write some script for this window, then this will go into controller 1. If we are interested in writing some script in for door, then that will go into this controller for door. Nothing will be mixed, so that in future if some issue comes and if your code is clean, you can directly understand that the issue is coming from the door controller, that is controller 3. That is why it is a very good practice to write separate controllers. So I think you have understood that why we write separate controllers. Now, why we write controllers, why we write separate controllers, I have explained. Now why we write controllers. Suppose this is controller 1 and sub controller 1, just write it controller 1, and suppose we want to write some condition that if it is rainy season, then keep this window closed, because this controller is coming. Suppose this window is facing the front part of your house, and this window has been covered with some other houses in front of this controller, so you want to keep it open even if it is rainy season. If it is rainy also, keep it open. So here you can see that now we want to define two different attributes for the two controllers. Now that is why we write controllers, to give a particular condition, to give particular logic, to give particular situation for an element within this controller, to write particular condition for this door, to write particular condition for this window 2. That is why we write controllers in application. Now let's talk in technical way. Suppose this application, this complete application is for a student registration, for example. So we will write what will happen in student registration. There will be a student login page. There will be a student, if he has account, then only he will be able to log in. Otherwise a student will have to register, so student registration page. And second, once he has registered or login, he will go to the student section page. Now see, for login, what a student will do, he will directly come to login page, he will put his username, he will put his password and login. So the logic for this window will be different. And if he has not, he wants to register, he does not have login details, then he will create a profile for him. So obviously the condition for this situation and the condition for this situation will be completely different. That if if he does not have profile, then only he can create profile. If he already has an account, then he cannot register one more time, he will have to log in. So if you see, in our statement we use two times if we have used, that is if he doesn't have login, then only register, and if he is already registered, then don't create a profile. So this logic will be written in separate controllers, and that is why we write controllers. So friends, now I think you are done. We are done, sorry. We are done with why we define controllers. So today I'm closing this. This is not useful for us now. So let's go back to our HTML page. Today in previous lecture we had defined variables. Today we will learn of operations with the variables. So I'm first pasting this Google API for Angular.min.js. Always remember that if you are using API call, if you are doing API call for connecting to Angular.min.js using Google API, you must have a net connection, otherwise it will not work, because it contacts Google for taking the APIs and then it takes all the script from there. Now, today we will define ng app. We will have to first define, that is, again I am giving my app. ng controller you will have to define, and this will be my controller, and again an script tag for writing scripts. So suppose I am creating where app equals to angular dot module. This will be our my app, and app dot controller my controller, and one function you will have to create. And we are going to use scope variable, so we are using $scope. We are passing $scope into this function. Suppose we are taking two variables where one equals to, suppose I'm taking this time I'm taking an integer. I'm not going to take any string or anything. So suppose it is 20. Okay, $scope where 2 equals to 10. Okay, so see, AngularJS doesn't only allow us to show this variable on UI, it also gives us authority, it also gives us that feature to operate, to evaluate the operation. AngularJS itself evaluates all the operations of numbers if we will write using opening and closing curly braces. Like how I will show you, like addition, suppose addition of the var1 and var2, simply write var1 plus var2. So this will save a space, because the other option to find the sum was like $scope that sum equals to $scope that var1 plus var2. Correct? This is the proper and genuine way of finding sum of two numbers, and then we can show sum here. Okay, that sum, and when you will run this program, this will show the sum of these two numbers. But AngularJS has that feature, and if you see carefully, we are saving one line here, that $scope dot sum equals to addition of these two. So that one line we have saved. In the same way, if we go with the genuine way of subtraction, we will have to create one more variable, and we will have to subtract these two variables, and then we can sort it on UI. But using AngularJS directly, we can write var1 minus var2, and AngularJS will evaluate this variable for us, this complete statement for us. It will print the subtraction, it will print the addition. In similar way, we can do multiplication. Suppose we say product, and we can directly multiply var1 into var2, and division will also be there, var1 var2, division sign we will use. So this is the good thing that AngularJS gives us. So I would like to suggest you all to practice more on variables. You were just concerned about the variable definitions, variable declaration, using it. Always remember $scope is used so that this variable will be accessible under only my controller. If you will define some other controller, suppose I'm using one more div, and you can create this. Don't don't get confused. You can define one more controller also, and suppose it is second CTRL. This is our second controller. Now we will have to define one more controller using this reference variable of the parent directory in the same way. So right now I'm not going in that much deeper way. Just I have shown you that how variables are defined, how evaluation of variables happen automatically in AngularJS. This is called expression, how expressions are written. So I think we are done with today's lecture. We will explain some more new things in the coming lectures, but it's my request, it's my suggestion to you all, try to practice more and more things with variable declaration, because in next tutorial we are not going to discuss how variables are declared and how operations of variables happen. We will be discussing new topic. So hope you like this video. Please subscribe us, and in next tutorial we will be doing something new, experiment with new topic. Thank you. See you in next tutorial.